Turtle here, WACC. Please tell us, sir, just give me a rundown real quick, your name and what's going to be happening today here at the...
I'm Dr. Ray Strikas. I work at the National Vaccine Program Office, Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C., and I'm here with colleagues from our department, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and Denver Public Health, and others from Public Health in Colorado, to talk with the public and have them help us think about an H1N1 or swine flu vaccination program.
I'd like to know if this vaccine is going to be mandatory, both in the schools that all children have to have it and the general population. Will this be voluntary? Will this be mandatory?
I'm not aware of any discussion of mandatory vaccination by the federal government other than the Department of Defense, which is not what we're talking about here today. Usually mandated vaccines are a state and local jurisdiction decision. The federal government doesn't mandate anybody to be vaccinated, again, outside of the Department of Defense. State and local laws about school entry take care of that. If the state wants to do mandate that, that's their business. There is no recommendation from CDC as yet about mandating vaccines. Individual hospitals and healthcare facilities can choose to do that. Some have done that for seasonal flu vaccine. The vast majority don't do that. So it is entirely a local and state decision about mandating. I'm not aware of any federal decisions or recommendations to mandate this vaccine.
Okay, thank you. Number two, once we've been vaccinated, what proof do we have that we have been vaccinated? So, like, for example, if a police officer, stops us, suppose it is mandatory. A police officer stops me and my family and wants proof that we have been vaccinated. Can you speak to that?
Again, it's not going to be mandatory as far as I know, unless your local jurisdiction makes some move, and that's up to them. But as far as proof of vaccination, CDC is working with partners to develop a card that each vaccinated person will receive. They will get first dose, second dose, and seasonal vaccine. So you'll have a card, as well as the electronic records, but also we can't seem to get away from paper. So it'll be paper as well as electronic records with proof of vaccination.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, I have a question. H1N1, I've taken a lot of information off the CDC website. It's proven to be a very versatile virus, and that they found it in the small intestine, as well as the fact that it can replicate in the lungs. A virus this versatile kind of worries me, since we're talking about using live attenuated vaccines. And considering how our kids, especially, are over-vaccinated. I mean, we have vaccines for every disease under the sun, and kids are expected to have these vaccines before they even start school. And also, considering the other live attenuated vaccines taken yearly, for seasonal flu, generally they're dead viruses, but I believe now they actually have some live attenuated seasonal flu virus vaccines. How, with a versatile virus like H1N1, can we be sure that these viruses will not reassort in the human body? Because we were just told recently that that's how this virus came to be. It was supposedly reassorted in pigs in Mexico, which nobody has ever proven. Nobody's ever found the pigs.
There's no guarantees in life. I mean, reassorting of influenza viruses in humans, I can't recall being documented, though it certainly could occur. The nasal spray viruses are attenuated, and they're cold adapted, meaning they can't live outside. They go into the nose and stay there. They can't get into the lungs. If they get into the GI tract where it's warmer, they die. They only replicate in the upper airways and offer mucosal immunity there. And so, you know, the opportunity for reassortment exists, but you know, I'm not recalling anything in humans, and I can't guarantee it won't happen, but it hasn't seemed to have happened that I know of yet.
Sir, I've read that actually was how the 1918 Spanish flu occurred. It was flu mutation, but at the same time, reassortment.
Fine, but right now we don't have that situation. The other thing is when you say the virus is found in the gut, no one's found this virus being excreted in feces. So, you know, right now we think it's respiratory transmission for the current H1N1. And that just gets back to the issues you read over and over on CDC's website about hand hygiene, washing hands, cover your cough, all that other stuff. That is very important in limiting transmission of this respiratory infection or any other. Let's pause there and go to the next one.
Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to call.
Good morning. Hey, my question in regard to apparent disconnect between the CDC and the other government agency, the FDA. It appears that the FDA, the CDC recommends vaccinating pregnant women. Like that's the one of the first people groups that it's most important, according to the CDC, to be vaccinated. But according to the FDA, it's not FDA recommended. It's due to its containment of Therasol that was discussed earlier, and the dangerous nature of that element.
It's a category C drug, meaning there are limited data on use in pregnant women. I don't think FDA clearly says not to give it to pregnant women. It says that one should consider the risks and benefits, and that's what's in the package inserts. And if you've got different information, I'd appreciate you showing it to me. So I agree, your point is well taken in that FDA doesn't come out and clearly recommend the vaccine for pregnant women. They offer a flat scientific assessment saying there are limited data in pregnant women. That's what category C means. Whereas the ACIP has taken a step further, saying we think the risks, whatever they are very small of the vaccine causing a problem versus the risks of disease causing a problem, and we make this recommendation. This is going to be a voluntary vaccination program. If someone doesn't want to receive the vaccine, nobody's going to make them receive the vaccine if you're a civilian. If you're in the Department of Defense, you may have a problem with that. But we're talking about civilians. So let's say that's where we are.
Okay, last 4 questions before we move on, and then again, I promise there'll be another question and answer period. This gentleman here is before you, and then you're next in the black shirt.
Yeah, you made a statement about the government will be paying for all the vaccines. In reality, we will be paying for them because the government is funded by taxpayer money, correct?
All right, you're paying for the vaccine through government tax dollars. Thanks for correcting me.
Okay. Which goes into my concern on December 17, 2006, Division E of the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act. An addendum was added to basically give immunity to the government and the manufacturers for any potential damages caused by a vaccine. So, what's your comment on that? Why does the government feel the need that they need to be immune from any damages from a vaccine of this sort?
Well, the concern is that this is potentially a severe public health problem, that if we did not provide liability protection to the people producing the product and giving the product, and absent willful neglect or misbehavior by the company or the administrator of the vaccine, that you can't sue them. You can sue the government. If someone feels they're injured by the vaccine, there'll be a compensation program that you can petition the government for damages from the vaccine, as one does with any vaccine routinely administered to children. National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. We set up a similar one for smallpox vaccination, people injured after that program in 2003. And there's a program that will be available for people who feel they're injured by this vaccine. They can petition the government for this. And these programs do pay out damages to people who need an injury table. So if we want to be prepared, we have to give some protection to people who make the product and provide the product to the public, and there is recourse, as I say, through the Injury Compensation Program.
Vaccines are safe, right? Why would they need to be protected?
Well, no vaccine is perfectly safe. No drug is perfectly safe. And if you know of one, please tell me. So, I mean, there are adverse events following any drug or any vaccine I care to name, and you know, therefore, people need to be offered compensation for things that might occur after vaccination. There is no comparable thing for drugs, so if you take your Vioxx, you got to go sue the company, where in this case, the government is taking on the liability protection. We could talk about this a long time. I'm happy to talk to you later, but let's leave it there.